Hello friends, welcome to my channel Creating Essence. I am Megan and thank you so much for stopping by today. Today I want to talk to you about a dark side of having a large family. You may or may not know, or you may agree with it, but there's a lot of hate toward large families. A lot of hate. And I'm not just talking about the ignorant comments that you get in grocery stores, like just close your legs. Don't you know what causes that? Do you own a TV? You're a glutton for punishment. Things of that nature that are just rude and inappropriate. And you want to ask them, like, you realize you are a stranger asking me about my sex life in front of a bunch of children. That makes you a creep. But most of the time we just have a good humored answer and keep trucking because it's ignorance. And then you come across hate, real hate, not just ignorance, hate. For example, there's a movement of people that call large family breeders and have horrible terms for moms of large families like myself and fathers of large families like my husband, as well as our children, that are animalistic and barbaric, refer to us purely in terms, vulgar terms, of breeding stock. I get a lot of hate on my YouTube videos here. Like, usually I delete them, but comments on like our video about our large family van that we made to help other large families find the right vehicle for them. People talking about my nether regions being a clown car, things of that nature. Talking about how some of our kids need to be knocked off so we can use a smaller vehicle. On my video about my daughter Rafaela and her birth story and about how she was diagnosed with trisomy 18. Spoiler alert, she's perfectly healthy. And yet still, I get a lot of comments on there saying, yeah, you should have aborted her. You have too many kids. Do away with that one. She seems to be the weak link. There are things like we encountered today. I mean, road rage in itself is scary. But when you realize you are a target solely because you have a lot of kids, strangers are targeting you and trying to run you off the road, screaming at you, taking photos of your children, filming you, rolling down their windows at red lights and leaning out to scream at you more. It's ugly. It's ugly. Today we were driving home from the grocery store and I noticed at a red light in the town near us that the people behind us, it caught my eye in my mirror because the driver was like, it's just like, I looked up real quick to make sure the light was red and make sure I wasn't like not going through it and angering someone, you know, because I sat at a light 2 seconds after it turned green. And then I noticed the man in the passenger seat getting out his phone and holding it out and very obviously taking photos of our vehicle. And our vehicle gets a lot of attention. It just does. It's a nice vehicle, it's a new vehicle, and it's a huge vehicle. And I have some cool decals on the back of it. So it gets a lot of attention, it gets a lot of stares. At one point it was clear that the man started videoing us, so at another light, when I caught his eye in the side mirror, which side mirrors on the Transit are massive, I caught his eye in the side mirror and I just smiled and waved, you know, thinking I was making it comical, like, I mean, you're really clearly videoing us. Hey! And the woman in the driver's seat starts going like this, and I could see her mouth moving, and she was like, her face was enraged, and she was barking, just wagging that finger back and forth. So I could tell it wasn't happy, it wasn't funny, and at that point it got scary because she started driving really erratically, weaving in and out of traffic to come up beside me. while the man in the passenger seat was taking pictures of my children and purposefully slowing down to get to the other side of us on a 2-lane highway and trying to pressure us, like push us into another lane so they could get to the other side of our car and take pictures of the kids that were on the other side in the seats. And they were pointedly slowing to stay behind a child while they snapped several pictures. Each child, all the way around the car, and myself. I tried to distract the kids. Multiple people have said you should have called 911. Honestly, I just wanted to protect my kids. So I very cautiously and safely tried to get to points in traffic, just like unnecessarily slowing down to be sandwiched between two cars. So it was me on the side and the rear-facing baby behind me that they couldn't really see his face. And they would try to run other people off the road to get back behind us. And it went on for about 15 miles. And at one point, traffic abruptly slowed in my lane to the point that they went ahead of me briefly. So I pulled out my phone. I know, also illegal. I should not have my hands on my phone, but I felt like I needed to document these people. So I pulled out my phone and held it out, leaned my hand on the dashboard while I was driving, and videoed them just as they went ahead of us and then as they slowed down to come back, hoping that I could catch the license plate and maybe images of the people. Unfortunately, I couldn't, but they noticed me filming them. So then they stayed beside me, even at a red light where there were like 3 cars in front of me and no cars in front of them. They stayed beside me to roll their window down and scream at me and film me out their window. I just turned the music up to make sure my kids did not hear anything because it was hateful filth. I must point out, they had "Love the Earth" and all sorts of environmentalist stickers all over the back of their Subaru. So my gas guzzler, which by the way gets better gas mileage and significantly lower emissions than most minivans and almost all SUVs on the market. Yeah, I'm doing more for the earth with my vehicle that happens to haul more people than 90% of families because they're driving SUVs and minivans. But sure, go ahead and assume we're killing the planet. Thankfully, I was able to stay at a point in traffic where they were forced to keep going and I could stay slow. I quickly turned off to a side road and went that way for a while, and thankfully was able to get to some big stretches where I could see no one was behind me before I headed toward home. Because I was truly scared. Like, these people just decided by my vehicle and the children in my van that they hated our existence, that we were just this scourge of the earth that they needed to come alongside and scream at without knowing us, that they needed to endanger our lives by weaving in and out of traffic in order to harass us. Those people are the reason that we have racism. Those people who judge strangers based on a minuscule modicum of their existence that they can see from the outside, those are the people that are the reason we have homophobia and bigotry and racism and violence. Those judgmental, horrible people, they are the filth of society, not me with my 11 billion children in my huge vehicle. They don't know that we actually have a minuscule carbon footprint. That clothesline right there, March through November, we use that almost exclusively for our laundry to save energy. We use our gray water to water the gardens. When my kids take baths, we don't use bubble bath. We just use Epsom salt so that I can use it on the garden. Yep, I'm terrible. We don't just do organic gardening like is the standard for organic that uses organic chemicals and organic methods. We use like next to nature. We mimic what nature does with our permaculture, our sustainable growth and gardens, and our animals back there that are completely antibiotic and hormone free and are fed probiotics so that they don't have to worry about E. coli or salmonella. Completely sustainable for the earth and the humans, practices. We also use cloth diapers and cloth wipes. We don't use paper towels, we use unpaper towels. We use cloth napkins. We rarely use paper plates, though I do keep them on hand for emergencies, just in case in a pinch. But we recycle them. We recycle everything possible. My kids reuse everything and I repair it until it's threadbare. We buy local and sustainable whenever possible. I'm not trying to justify my existence because I'm okay with my existence. I'm just trying to point out that you might see a gas guzzler on the road and it may be full of children. You don't know if those are children from the foster care system that have been profoundly abused and abandoned. And that family is putting everything out there to take care of them. That's why we have a 12-passenger van. We could fit in a minivan, but we wanted to go bigger because we feel a very heavy burden in our hearts for adopting from the foster care system, specifically teens who are about to age out of the system. They have no family, they have no safety net. Most of them have been abused and in the system most of their lives by that point. And we want to give them the love and families and security, and if nothing else, financial safety net that the lack of leads most of them to drugs and the sex trade. That's why we have a huge vehicle, because that is our heart's desire. We are done having kids, and really, the 5 kids I have inside is not really a big family. We can fit into any standard minivan or SUV. We choose a larger vehicle because our future has saving kids from the foster care system that have no one. You might be doing a lot for the earth. What are you doing for humans? What are you doing for the children in foster care that have no one? You might be one with the sea turtles, like one of their bumper stickers said, but clearly your hatred for your humankind is so thick and the misery inside yourself is so torturous that you've become a nasty, hateful human being. So who cares if you love sea turtles? You're treating fellow humans like crap. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. My family is awesome. My kids are awesome. I am excited for the future, for the children who are going to come into our home, that we get the privilege of loving, especially after people have failed them and abandoned and neglected and abused. I am so excited, and I am thrilled that getting a bigger vehicle to accommodate last-minute placements and things of that nature is not a concern. We have the room. Welcome. We're so excited you're here. But go ahead and judge us, because apparently by outward appearances we're killing the planet. And go ahead and endanger countless lives on the road, like all us and all the cars around us. Because that makes more sense. Because there are sea turtles. Yeah. Anything else I have to say would get ugly. Because people are hateful and terrible sometimes. But I'm doing my best to raise great humans. Humans who care about people and the earth. And I'm excited about that. And right now, that's a huge part of my earth-saving existence. So it's awesome humans inside. So I'm gonna eat dinner with them. Thanks for watching. Share, like, subscribe, leave me hate in the comments.